Was there any point in time where you saw opportunity enough to rival, that goal of going to America during your A levels?
Uh, Not really.
Where do you assess Zimbabwe's economy today?
So based on just talking to people over there, because last time I was there was 2016.
Hmm.
Uh, it's even worse than what it was when I was there.
We've talked a lot about Zim, and I wanna. You've spent the last 15 years over here in America.
Hmm.
This is most of your adult life already, because
Yeah.
15 years of your adult life minus your age is like your entire adult life here in the US. And where I want to start in wanting to know your life about your life here in the US is, did you have any expectations as you left Zimbabwe? And what I mean by like preconceived notions, or just what I think about America, or just what I'm gonna find there, or just what I plan to do. Did you have any of those as you were leaving Zim for America?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a smooth ride.
And you said
But
thought, because my follow up was going to be, have you met all those expectations? Have all of that been real?
no, I don't
Hmm.
think I've met. I'm still. I think right now at this stage of my life, I'm getting to the point of the things I wish I had. I was hoping I would have had by 6 or 7 years. I would have been here if things had
Mm.
if things had gone smoothly, as
Mhm.
that thought. But it's been a roller coaster,
Mhm.
and a time of like finding yourself, learning about yourself, learning things like, okay, this is different. You have to navigate differently in
Yes.
certain areas. So it's so my premeditated notion
Yes.
for when I came here is
Mm.
it's changed. We just changed the time. Like, oh damn, I thought this is what it was gonna be, but hell no, it's totally different.
Huh.
So yeah, I think it has changed and it's evolving, so which is good.
Yes.
It's evolving. It's more of let's get it done kind of mindset.
Okay. Let's
Yeah,
just do it. Mm.
let's just do it.
Mm.
No more like, yeah, it's never too late. Just get it done. Just keep on grinding, and doesn't matter how long it's gonna take. Just get it done. And
That makes me
so,
want to ask. Uh, I thought we left Zim already, but I want to ask: has it? I mean, after reality hit, and you're facing it, and life is just what it is here in the US, has it ever been tough enough or challenging enough for Zimbabwe to be an option
uh, well, like they say,
or
there's no
thought
place.
about?
Not really. I think I've said you can't give up. Just have to fight through and find ways. Like I said, it's more about let's get it done. So you have to navigate in certain ways. Like, okay, so this is the obstacle,
Mm.
but the obstacle doesn't mean I cannot get over it.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
if
Mm.
if I was supposed to go from A to B in a straight line, but it's impossible because there's a
Yes.
big obstacle in
Yes.
there,
Yes.
maybe I have to go to C first before I come back
Yes.
to B. Or so it's just navigating in a way to get you where you want to be.
So it's
And
just the challenges we face here, and then figuring out how to grow and
yeah,
just yeah. Hmm. Okay.
and get it
Uh,
done.
yes. Yes. Uh, um. uh, Let's talk about family. So in getting that done, in living here 15 years later, you started a family here in America.
Yes.
Um, like we talked about, the preconceived notions, the plans, everything that you thought about as you were coming here, has starting a family and having a child here in America, has it changed anything that was a plan before? as far as connecting back home, or whether it's going home, whether it's doing something at home? Like, has having a child changed anything that was already pre-planned?
Uh, I think for me, the moment I hit a stumbling block in my initial plan, I resorted from pre-planning to, okay, let's do what works. You
Let's
know,
do what works.
let's do what works because you can pre-plan, which is perfect.
Yes.
But if the pre-planning you hit another obstacle, you're gonna go back to square one.
Mm,
And let's avoid going back to square one. And let's do with what works, with what you have, with the
that
resources
makes
you have.
sense. That makes sense.
Uh, so for me, it's yeah, Zimbabwe's been a thought like, yeah, maybe one day I'll go back home, and there's no
Yes.
place like home. But it hasn't been like, yeah, I have to. It's always has been be like, okay, I'll let my situation decide the action I'm gonna take.
Ah.
Uh, so if my situation decides like, yeah, the best cost of things is for you to go back home and be home.
Hmm.
But as time goes on, I figured like, well, like now, like I'm a family, like I said, I'm a family guy.
Yes.
Uh, the notion is my thought process is basically slightly different. Like, well, the only home maybe 90. If I don't get to take my son back home, the
Yes.
only home he's gonna know is here.
Okay.
Like the majority of
Okay.
the time because he's gonna
Right.
be here. He's gonna
Right.
be here. So for him,
Yes.
he's gonna be like, I was born here.
Yes.
Not meaning like you won't have the opportunity to go visit Zimbabwe, the
Yes.
opportunity to come and arise at some point in time. But in a short period of time, for him, it's gonna be like, should I focus on what I want to do back home, or should I focus on what he is here? Let's do
Right.
something for
Hmm.
him here because
Yes.
this is where he is,
Yes.
and this
This is where
is
he lives. Yeah.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
this is where
Yeah.
we are on the ground.
Yeah.
In Zimbabwe, you will know is more Zimbabwe. Me telling him about Zimbabwe ninety
Yes.
percent of the time.
Yes. Not his
So
experience. Yes.
not what he has experienced, and
Yes.
then so the experience part of it might come to him deciding like, oh yeah, maybe I want to take a vacation and see, that's where the experience gonna be, but it's not gonna be the same experience as the experience I had.
Ah.
you
Yes.
know
Yes. Yes.
so
True.
the
True.
experience will be different for him than so so it's more as in like dealing with the situation at hand
That's
than
right. That's right.
uh pre-planning like, yeah, so when my son is 5, I'm gonna send him to Zimbabwe, do blah 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 blah, or my son is 10, I'm gonna you know those are things that I've decided like, oh, let me not worry about those things for now because
Yes.
that's not what's important at the moment.
That's right. And that's the dichotomy of a lot of Africans here in the diaspora that I've spoken to that have started family already. Some, like, their plan changed in a major way after they had their kid. The sentiments are similar. Where, all right, now my child born here, there's a lot of things that I want them to know and experience that have to do with what groomed me as a man or a woman to this point, but it can't be the same, minute by minute, year by year, experience by experience. I can tell them the story part of it, they can visit, because a lot of people are not choosing or don't think it's viable to just raise their kids at home when they're not ready yet
Hmm.
to go home themselves. And so that is totally fair. And that makes me want to ask, whether this is for you or this is just generally, have you thought about ways that the diaspora, a lot of us that come from Africa for various reasons and we're over here, right, can be involved in home affairs at all without being on the ground? Has that ever been a thought?
We're living in a world of technology, so it's
Mm?
possible.
Yeah.
It's about time we harness the technology that's in front of us
Mm.
and
Mm.
make and we are already involved because we
Yes.
send money back home every now and then.
Yes.
So we are already involved because we are
Yes.
we send money, we taking care of our families back there.
Hmm. Hmm.
So our involvement is already there, but question is it being acknowledged,
Ah.
or is it being used to a lucrative way of like, okay, how can we make use of our resources out here But then again, it comes back to greed.
Huh.
You know,
Huh.
So when it comes back, because funny thing is like sometimes the same people whom you're trying to help are the ones who are trying to play you. I had sort of the people who are like, yeah, I'm sending money to my brother, but no, see, for him to do A, B, C, D, only to find out like
Wow.
he's he's doing E, F, G.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's always, not. It's always like, okay, do we want to get involved or shouldn't we get involved? But we already are involved. But the point is like, how are we using the involvement to benefit everybody? Because it's
Hmm.
possible. Well, it's possible because I know in Zim there was a notion like we should let people from the diaspora vote, blah 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 blah. Then someone like, oh, they don't live here, A B C D. So it's always gonna be like what works for who,
Yes.
yeah, and who benefits from that.
That is so that actually that's profound that you mentioned that because I've been having this feeling for a while now. This feeling of it's mostly Gambia because it's Gambia that I know more. I say this a lot, but it's I have this sense from a lot of people because you just highlighted it. There's this sometimes unspoken tension between people at home and us here in the diaspora trying to connect back at home.
Hmm.
I've had a guest here who talked about, wanting to go home, wants to go home bad because I know her and she's been involved a lot in back home affairs. And she keeps getting hit by every time she comments on affairs of back home, she gets jabbed with words of like, you're not here. If you were,
Hmm.
you're speaking from away from here. We're the ones here. That kind of thing. And when it comes to also like you talked about greed, you know, family on family crimes. I'll call it. I'll call it that. I know a lot of people that try to uplift their families and sometimes friends, sometimes neighbors, because the people we help go beyond family at home, right?
Hmm.
We come from communities, so somebody at church or from your mosque or a neighbor, a classmate, like we're involved in our community more than a family. People attempt to help or get involved. Okay, let's start a business or let's start something that can help you more than me just handing out every time you need it. Let's start
Hmm.
something, and they get duped, they get manipulated, they get used. Those stories are endless. So
Hmm.
the greed is widespread, right? This is where, and that's partly the conversation we're trying to have here. How can we better be involved back home because we have enough people in the diaspora that want to be involved fully at home, but these issues have made a lot of people hold back. How can we make other ways or smarter ways of getting ourselves involved in affairs of home that will improve things back home? And you mentioned technology,
Yeah,
and that's
I
a light
mentioned
bulb for me. You
it's yeah,
mentioned technology.
technology because technology connects everybody. Without WhatsApp, we won't be able to talk
Yes,
to our families back home.
yes, yes,
Without all this new money service
yes,
services out there, we won't be
yes.
able to be sending money.
The
You
way we
know,
do. Hmm.
where we do, would have been working, doing, waiting to make sure you have a bank account, you have
Yes,
this. But
yes.
not everybody has a bank account back home. But
Yes.
we are able to, to send money that way
Immediate. Yes.
immediately. So I think uh, for the first and foremost, it can be an issue like we need to at least cut the barrier of political separation
Mm.
and start seeing each other like we're all one, whether I am for Z or I am for B. Let's have a view for everybody. Like I said, the grid has to recycle itself. You know,
Mm.
Zimbabwe has so many resources,
Yes.
and those resources
Endless.
can, if as I say, you can have access to them. That's fine, but let's let them recycle into the economy to better benefit everybody. And you can still make you'll be like, you can still do your own thing, but at least let's make that everyone's needs are being met, so that we are not, because basically, uh, if I can talk like sending money back home to help, like, oh, I send money back home. Here what I send back home, here I'm here like, damn, I'm sweating. But for
Yes.
them, they'll think like, oh yeah, they
Oh,
have, you have it. You're in America,
yeah.
not knowing like, no, there's so many sleepless nights. There's so many
Yes.
stressful days.
Yes. Yes.
Some angry days, work, some,
Yes.
you just have
Yes.
so
Yes.
tough times at work. So
Yes.
we also pushing making ends meet here
Oh,
at the same
yes.
time. So I think my vision has been to be like, we need to, if we stop sending money, then what, right?
Hmm.
If we
Hmm.
stop sending money, then what? We need to encourage people to be self-sustainable, find ways to sustain them, not just something that's for 2 minutes, but long, for a long time, you
Yes.
know. Uh, Trades, since looking back in Zoom, like, okay, what can we do? What trade can you do? Asking people like, okay, I can send you money every day to buy groceries. I can buy you groceries. I can feed you, but this is not sustainable,
It's not.
because
It's
one
not.
day I can just be dead and you are back at square one. So me just sending you money is not solving
I'm not
anything.
helping you. I'm
Yeah,
not helping you.
I'm just enabling
I'm
you.
not maximize. Yes, I'm enabling
Yeah.
you. Oh, that's a good word. I'm
So
enabling you. That's not the best way to help you. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so my thinking, like, we can send money, but let's find ways to ensure that these people whom we're helping back home can sustain themselves without us.
So your encouragement to the diaspora is that for all of us that are here and all of us are involved at home at some capacity, whether it's just immediate family or friends or whatever, let's figure out very crafty ways to not only make use of technology, but also think about ways where everything we do for our friends and family at home to be something that doesn't enable the person because you're handing it every time it's requested, but
Hmm.
more for something that will make that person be, the whole, fish, teaching how to fish rather than handing the fish, right?
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we can better help them, whether it's educating somebody, whether it's, helping them pay for school instead of just, sending them Christmas money, whatever it is that can develop the person to be in a place of earning rather than depend on you, because it's never enough. All of us have experienced it. You've never
Yeah.
sent enough money. Something that you mentioned that I've said over and over to friends and whoever is ready to listen, I tell them this. A lot of us, 90%, and no, let nobody quote me on this stat, but I know it's a high percentage
Hmm.
of us. Every time we send that $100, it's not $100 that's just sitting there not finding something to do.
Hmm.
We actually just sacrifice something else to send that 100.
Yep.
There's something that was not paid. Okay, bill so and so will wait until later.
Yep.
This thing that I was gonna buy for myself, okay, I can do without it. So there's every $100 we send is a sacrifice,
Hmm.
but it's not how we are perceived back home.
Yeah.
It's not how we're perceived. I like your plan, man.
I think
Yeah, I like your plan.
I think some of it too, we can also blame ourselves, in the effect of social media.
That's a
You
good
know,
one.
if we actually portray ourselves on social media the way life is really going,
Yes.
maybe people will understand as well.
Oh, that's good.
You
You're
know,
right.
yeah,
You're
because like
right.
I said, technology.
Yes.
So they're able to say like, oh, we see you on Facebook, you're doing A,
Yes.
B, C, D.
Yes.
So for them, they're like, oh wow, these people got money, even
Yes.
if I've worked hard for it. So maybe
Yes.
sometimes I deserve to treat
Yeah.
myself to
Splurge a
something.
little bit. Yes.
Yeah, and one other thing they don't understand, like some of these things that they had done, like they're done once in a blue moon. They're like, and that one day maybe I
Yeah.
went out for 2 hours and I
Yeah.
just took pictures, like looking
Yes.
nice and things like,
Yes.
and then maybe I went back home. I'm back inside the house. I just
Uh
went
huh.
outside, took
Yeah.
pictures,
Yeah.
dressed up.
Uh huh.
I didn't go nowhere,
Yeah.
but I'm portraying a life that maybe
Yeah.
I'm not even living. So it also
Yeah,
gives that false impression, like, oh no, they do have it. Did you see the shoes he was wearing?
yeah,
Did you see him? He was wearing Gucci belt, or he was
yeah,
having this Gucci thing, or he was
yeah,
having Louis Vuitton. So
yes,
it's that perception we are building, that it may be social media also is giving that wrong perception of what really is happening in some people's life. You
that's
know.
very true.
So at
That's
the end of the
very true.
day, it kind of gives her like, well, even if you tell somebody like, "Ah, I don't have the money," their mind like, no, what you mean you don't have any money? Because I see you every day doing ABCD
Yes,
on Instagram, ABCD on TikTok, or ABCD on any other.
yes,
So at the
yes,
end, it also is plays a part in how they perceive and how they want. Like, okay, so if I just ask for $100, I don't think that's too much.
yes,
But while in hindsight, I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, that's a lot of money,
yes,
for me, because
yes,
I don't have it. So for me,
yes,
that's a
yes,
lot, because
yes.
I can stretch it to do certain A, B, C, D, and so yeah. And then another thing we can do is Africa is, we need to look at Africa without borders. You know, we have resources,
Yes.
and yeah, we're here because we have failed to commingle as Africans in our own
Oh,
in our own continent. Because if
oh,
we can commingle and have good, trade, relationships in
yes,
terms of the resources that we have, I
yes.
think we can also build an African economy that benefits the whole of Africa,
The whole of
because
Africa.
we can lift all those countries that are struggling,
Yes,
and also maintain a stable economy that
yes,
everybody is, like I said, their needs are being met.
yes,
Or is it possible? It is possible. Can it happen overnight? No, but you just have to take to, limit the grid.
yes, yes,
Limit the
yes,
grid, because the grid, like me, I'm in Zimbabwe, and I'm trying to, like, oh, let's do trade with South Africa, or let's do trade with Zambia, let's do trade with Botswana, and me, I mean, the guy in Botswana, I'm like, no, I don't want you to enjoy my resources.
yes,
You know,
yes,
you keep
yes,
what you stay where you are, because this is
yes,
mine. But at the
yes,
end of the day, if we find mutual ground to
yes,
benefit
yes,
everybody. Like, I have sugar here. Okay, well, I have lots of water
yes,
here. So let's
yes,
let's let's find a way to make it like I benefit from this, you benefit.
yes,
Make that trade really, really beneficial for us with
yes,
our natural resources, and
yes.
help each other out. Like, and be able to call each other out as
Ki-
African. Call
Yes,
each other out, like, well,
yes,
yeah, say what you're doing is not really. We can't keep on coddling each other.
yes.
And yeah, but obviously some of it stems into history and all other things we
Oh,
can never
yes.
finish.
And listen, no, you just said it right there that we can never finish. And just because you said that, just because we've covered a lot of ground about home and about here, and we've not even touched the surface of the things that I want to talk about here. Here we are going back home to talk about a big topic that I have to have you back to talk on, because that Africa Without Borders attempted twice. There was a huge Lagos meeting, and now the last one that happened in Kigali, that now Paul Kagame is heading. Where the borderless Africa, they've been trying to implement since 2018, and how that can change Africa. I feel like personally, I feel like that poverty mindset it's an epidemic. As Africans, we take it for exactly that, right? From the greed. I'll take you back as we wrap up. I'll take you back to Gambia again, that I know. Gambia, this tiny little country inside Senegal, divided by just between the British and the French in a very, very like the best word to describe it is disrespectful way.
Hmm.
Where you look at every time you look at the map of Gambia, it's just a reflection of how greedy our colonizers were, where the
Hmm.
British interest is just the shape of Gambia. The shape of Gambia tells you the British and their interest. They wanted that narrow stripe of land that follows a river called the River Gambia all the way to where it ended,
Hmm.
just so they will be able to navigate inland. it's just so annoying to look at my map. So my entire life, I've been looking at a map that annoys me every time I look at it. And and between Gambia and Senegal, even when they got their independence, Gambia in '65, Senegal in '60, they came together, you know, to talk about ways of bringing their people back together without borders. And because of greed, we're talking about Gambia and Senegal, same people, same languages, same culture, same dance, same food, same everything
Everything.
except French and English. Everything's same. They're all the same bloodline. Like every Gambian has a cousin in Senegal. And when the leaders came to meet and talk about a way, hey, we are first cousins, let's come back together, forget these borders. They could not agree on leadership. They could not
Hmm.
agree on currency. They could not agree on like frivolous, nonsensical things
Hmm.
that they could not agree. And that one attempt, they're like, all right, you hold your own, I hold my own. And we've been like that since. We can't finish this topic right now. We've crossed over to
Yeah.
Bro, like I said, this is why I told you from the beginning. I said, forget the camera is there. Let's just
Hmm.
talk like we normally do. I will definitely have you back. And I would love to have you back with somebody else because so that the forum will be bigger than this. But thank you for the hour you've given me. We've
Hmm.
covered a lot of things,
Yeah.
highlights of which will definitely be like appreciated by the people listening, especially your plan on how we can go about helping back home, rather than just handouts.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's a problem.
yeah, handouts are a problem. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for the hour, man. This is really good stuff, man.